Today we are making Sri Lankan fish cutlets. The things which are optional you can leave aside, but remember everything adds flavor. Here's some tips to remember. Don't use olive oil for deep frying, only use for tempering. For deep frying, you can use any other oil you have. When you buy potatoes, buy brushed potatoes because it's easy to peel. My secret to uplift all the flavors in this recipe is the cardamom. First, wash the potatoes well and boil it either in a pressure cooker or in a deep pot. If you are using the pressure cooker, wait for about 4 to 5 whistles and you know your potatoes are boiled. Remember, these potatoes are to mash, therefore it has to be boiled properly. If you use a deep pot to boil the potatoes, use a fork to see whether it's boiled properly. While the potatoes are cooking, you can chop the onions and the rest of the ingredients as shown here. Make sure you chop the onions and the rest finely. Also, pound the cardamom. You can get rid of the peel or leave it and get rid of it once the mixture is cooked. Once you drain all the water from the tuna, remove the bones and mash it. No water should remain with tuna. Once the potatoes are boiled, make sure to release the pressure from the pressure cooker if you are using one, and then drain all the water. I usually open the tap to run through it for a little because it cools down the potatoes and it's easy for me to peel them off. Afterwards, peel the potatoes and mash them while they are a bit cooler. My advice is not to leave it too long to cool down, as sometimes it gets harder to mash. Once it's done, leave it aside. And remember, there shouldn't be any lumps in the potatoes. When everything is ready, take a wok or a pan and add about 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil or any other oil you use for cooking. Once oil is heated, you can start by adding mustard seeds and follow with adding all the other ingredients as shown in this video. Once the onions are cooked for 2-3 minutes, then you can add the cardamoms. And remember, I told you earlier, the peel of the cardamom, you can take it out once the onions are cooked properly. After adding the cardamom, you let the onion cook for another 2-3 minutes and then add the tuna. Once you add all the tuna, mix it well with the onions and leave it with a closed lid in a low flame to cook it really well. Once the tuna is being cooked for 3 to 4 minutes, you can add pepper and salt. You can add this to your preference. Once everything is mixed, take a lid and close it and reduce the flame and leave it to cook for another 5 to 6 minutes. Once the tuna is cooked well, you can start adding the potatoes. Remember, you may have to do this bit by bit in small batches because the potatoes need to get well mixed with the tuna. After adding the lime, mix it well, switch off the stove and leave it aside to cool down. After the mixture cools down, you can start making small balls out of it and leave it on a plate or either on a flat surface. The second stage of making cutlets is dipping it in eggs and coating it with breadcrumbs. For this, you need 1 or 2 eggs and beat it really well and leave it aside, and of course breadcrumbs. After getting the breadcrumbs and the egg yolk ready, you can start dipping the small cutlets that we made in the egg yolk. And once you take it out, you have to coat it really well with the breadcrumbs and leave it aside on another surface or in a different plate. Once it's been coated, you'll be able to see there is a small difference of the size. The cutlet has become a bit bigger. Once all the cutlets are made, you can heat up the oil in a pan. It can be a deep pan or a shallow pan, either way you like it, and then slowly place the cutlets inside the oil. And be careful when you do this, try not to burn your hand. You will know the cutlets are cooked well, fried well, when it started to turn into golden brown. That's when you need to take it out and place it on a paper towel or maybe on a oil paper. So lastly, when everything is cooked, you can start arranging them on a flat surface or a flat container, and make sure that you use a baking paper underneath so it will be crispy and nice.